team structures. So let us talk about cricket. There is a team of 11 players. So there will be batsman, there will be bowler. So the team is made such that it's a winnable team. So in order to make a good team, best team, there are various factors. The first thing is the organization, management. That is how the management is conceiving the team. How many number of people are there are required? As 11 players are required in a cricket team. What will be the skill levels? That is, some skill set, some experienced, problem difficulty. If you're playing with England and New Zealand, you want a real good team. Mantei, in terms of making a software engineering team, he described the factors for software development. So how will be the planning or how to plan the structuring of the team? So he said, first thing, you're making a software, you're making an app or a website. What is the difficulty of the problem? Whether it is complex project, whether it is a small project. Then how many line of codes or function points are there? That is the size of the resultant software program. This is also a deciding factor. Then how much time this team members or team will be, say, in existence, and how long these players will stay together. Say in 3 months every member will change or the new team will take over. How the problem can be modularized or the degree to which. For example, if whole of the project is like this, how far we can divide it. The one team can do some work, the other team can do another work. So this is a kind of compartmentalization. Now there are certain software which require a quite of quality and reliability. Well, every software should have, but the extent that also decides how the software structure will be there of team. There will be a delivery date rigidity. So how rigid it is? That is, if you have to deliver it in 1 year or 6 months, now the team structure may change according to the rigidity of that delivery date. Then how much communication is required? That is only communication at the beginning or the end, or the communication has to be within the team, with the stakeholders. How much communication is required? So here we have Larry Constantine. So he suggested 4 organizational paradigms for software engineering teams. So any organization can have a team and that can follow certain traits. So he gave four of them. So it depends on the project also, it depends on the work product also. So the first one is the closed paradigm. So you see here, it's all about traditional hierarchy. So this closed paradigm is structuring a team in a proper traditional hierarchy of authority. That is the boss, then the subordinates and their subordinates. And this hierarchy can go up to the level the organization want. Now, the thing is that this is a kind of conventional and historically it is the oldest. So for a project or a work which has already been done earlier, this closed paradigm team will work very good. But if there is something innovative, something new, something challenging, then there will be some problem in this closed paradigm. The second one is the random paradigm. Here, the structuring is quite loose. That is, in closed, the work has been done. So the closed can easily do, not innovativeness if it is not there. But the random paradigm, the concrete authorization is not there. That is, the team is loosely defined and everything is dependent on the individual member. If some innovation, technological breakthrough, new stuff have to be made, the team will do very good. It will excel because it depends on the individual initiative of the member. But if you need an orderly performance, like there is an already project being made, there has to be a way to be followed, then this random paradigm may struggle. Then we have the open paradigm. So this open paradigm is a kind of adaptive collaboration. That is the closed paradigm plus random paradigm. If you combine them, there will be some hierarchy, but every hierarchy, the members will be given some say autonomy, or they will be loose in their work. They will be given some autonomy. So work is performed collaboratively, very heavy communication, and everything will be consensus based. Everyone has to decide and say on decision making. For a complex problem, bigger problem, this open paradigm will be real good. It is well suited for complex problem. Okay? Because here the closed and random is combined together. A synchronous paradigm. In synchronous paradigm, synchronous means if you are making a video and you are also speaking, so the audio video are not matching, that is not synchronous. But if the audio video is matching, that is synchronous. That is the word I am trying to explain. But in this case, team structures, the synchronous paradigm is all about, because you see here, there's a kind of alignment. Okay. So this synchronous paradigm is organizing the team members to work on the pieces of the problem. What are the pieces? If you are given some software, that problem can be divided into certain parts or pieces, and team members are working on the pieces, and there will be least communication between them. So this is the, say a certain factor of little communication that is there. Here you see Harlan Mills. Now I am taking you to the history. Historically, Harlan Mills, he proposed, along with other members and other people who added like Baker. So one of the earliest software team organization he proposed, and it was a closed paradigm. And we already talked about closed, open, synchronous, etc. So we are talking about closed paradigm, and this was called as a chief programmer team. Chief programmer team. So this follow a proper hierarchy, means every level is properly defined. I'll tell you what are the names being given. So here is a view, and the nucleus or the key person, the main person, is a senior manager, also called as the chief programmer. And he is responsible for the key things like the planning. He'll make the plans. He will coordinate different teams, different work, and all the technical activities. He is responsible for the reviewing. He will review what is the work, what you have done. All this will be done by the senior engineer. We are calling him as the chief engineer. Then comes the technical staff. The staff are around 2 to 5 people who are actually technically working or helping or contributing. They are conducting the analysis. Whatever is done, they have to analyze it, find out what is lagging, what needs to be added. So this is the analysis of the work, and all the development activities will be done by the technical people. There will be a backup engineer. Now he is actually supporting the senior engineer, and he is alike, you can say at the equal level with senior engineer, because if something happens to senior engineer, if he shifts, he gets transferred, senior manager, backup manager engineer can replace him. Now this chief engineer or chief programmer will be supported by certain people who are specialists in their work. For example, if a hardware person is there and he is supposed to lead a team of software, he needs certain people like the database designer. If the project is related to telecommunication, he needs certain people who are expert in telecommunication. So one or more specialists will be there with him who are serving chief engineer. And there will be support staff, there will be some writing, there will be documents generated, someone has to type, and somewhere the configuration management or the booklets have to be placed. So there will be a software librarian also. Now, Constantine, I'll talk about him. So he said the random paradigm. He said that there will be some creative independence. When you give creative independence, that this is our team and we give them freedom. Just do the way you want. There will be innovation, but there will be some anarchy also. Anarchy is a chaotic situation. See, what we are trying to suggest here, we have to give the autonomy, but to the limit so that the project work properly. So we are talking about a free-spirited approach, but the initiative, the skill has to be, or you can say the creative energy of these people have to be channelized, because our central goal, central idea is to make a good software and software engineering practices.